So we are somewhere about lagging. So that lagging trend and all, accordingly, you can have a. So let's say on 16 there was lagging was up. On 16 even dynamic trend was up. 17, 19 will go down. I think the dynamic turned down. Okay, so lagging was up, but it was losing strength because 12D and prices were already below this. So prices were already below this, but the 12D minus 16 plus 26D is still up. That's the lag. That's the lagging. So but lagging
Okay.
is purpose is for a bigger trend. Okay, so somebody, as I told you, dynamic something who will take position and not want to play intraday volatilities, he will do it and he will exit when the dynamic tells and after say 2 or 3% profit or no more than that, holding or whatever. You can hold as far as the dynamic trend. Okay, then lagging is somebody who wants
Right.
to keep for a rolling position. Lagging, we have kept it for rolling. Like say a position in some lagging stocks which were there in May, we are still holding into that because lag tells me to hold. Okay. So
Right.
like ITC gave me a lagging position trend benefit of worth of about almost 25% or 30%, 25 to 30%, just by rolling.
Okay.
Because lagging tells me to hold. Okay. Bajaj Finance
Right. Right.
5,720. So that is the purpose of lagging. So now what happens is that based on whatever observation we are doing as I'm doing the routine basis, then I start for the comments where we are taking into consideration what is the SGX behavior as well. So whatever, like dynamic trend is down, lagging trend is so and so, so and so. So what we are saying in the comments already that we start using to exit till because we saw certain behavior. Like let's open the chart of September contract. Yes. Basically, what objective of talking about all this is that somebody will automatically come into tune about going through the reports, going through reports and then implementing.
Right.
Otherwise, what happens? You take a
Right.
report, like, क्या लिखता है, पता नहीं चलता है, and that thing, and then the 99% people don't call me. They want
Mm-hmm.
to interpret their ways and do it. So they 1 month they are clients, second month they are not. Those who are with me for 10 years and 15 years, they are doing my reports in and out. They understand what I'm doing. They understand my mind, my psychology. I'm not doing marketing. So many times is doing
Correct.
certain promotional basis, but I don't do marketing at all. I don't do marketing like what the trainer which you took a training is doing and a lot of YouTubes coming and quoting at that. I'm not doing.
Right.
Basically, I'm almost on par with him also. That much I can assure you. Okay.
Mm.
As far as the let's pick up September contract. Now this was the September contract which was ended.
Okay.
Now, so this was the fund. We have recently actually worked upon ATR, 2-day ATR and the close. So this line is 2-day ATR and the close. This is not part of the report right now. This is for my understanding and when I'm writing reports, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Not yet given on the report content, but this is for my understanding. But it will be there on the chart. Like if you open and see the chart, on top you will see whenever I'm posting this kind of a chart, ATR plus C. So whatever that ATR plus C was there that time, like over here, see it did cross but didn't close. So you need to close on the ATRC.
Right.
Otherwise, what happens? It might just fluctuate. No? Otherwise, it will make no sense. So that is why over here it survived actually. But
Yeah.
intraday behavior, those are looking at the intraday behavior, they have no choice. They have no choice. They have to cut the position even if this ITRC is closed. Because they don't have time to wait for this. For example, if this big move candle happens, then it's trouble for them. Okay.
Yeah.
Like the Friday's candle, like this big candle. And most of the time what happens in such kind of large candles are generally not replicated again immediately and they tend to move in an opposite direction. So, a large
Right.
long white candle will tend to create a doji's candle like this.
Mm-hmm.
Market doesn't move even in the bull market condition, but the upside market. First of all, you don't have such large candles. So candle
Yeah.
range is not that large, even if it is a normal range. And then after a rise, you will always have a indecisive candles. When the market becomes trended higher, low is stopped. Actually, then market moves. You always expect that whenever there is a large candle, tomorrow is not going to be a good day for trading.
Right.
Because what happens?
Right.
Friday was a good day. Monday will be difficult to trade because it has already
Mm-hmm.
done a big move. So there is always, and if you see on the SGX chart, the SGX already started shedding positions after 3:30. If you look, so those things we are round the clock monitoring, even if more or less on the in line, trying to be in line with the market. Okay, in terms of thought
Right.
process. So whatever I will say that in 17.5 till 18.124. You know why we said 18 to 14 is because there was a breakdown over here, or probably around this 16, which was that 19 rupees. 19 rupees after 16, 19. Okay, after this particular day, you are writing. Okay, after this
Mm.
day you are writing. So basically, it was clear that this is a breakdown of some magnitude because this day was also gap down and there was a recovery. So this recovery should have created a further breakout and a follow-up because we already tested
Yeah.
earlier peak, already tested a peak over here. So we already into the supply zone. So these two lines are which I am trying over here are basically the supply zone created. Okay. These two are the supply zones.
Oh,
So we are already into the supply zone. So we are already into the supply zone. We had to do the breakout. If not, there was trouble. So that sense
right.
on the chart is was already there. Okay. So therefore, there was a gap down and a recovery. Okay, we give one day benefit. It's crossed, broke the ATRC, but closed up. Okay. So it had to do that follow-up breakout, didn't do it. Another dark cloud cover over here on this particular day already happened. So therefore, if you see the report of 16th, we already said that sell below this in the comments. If you take the report
Okay.
about 16th report in the morning, so we are probably this is 19, 16. Probably we see what our dynamic trend is up, lagging trend is up. And after the observing the SGX Nifty data chart of 14 and high and low of 72, since SGX has a long hours of trading, we discount the news events post 3:30 to 9:30. Next day is support of 1770 is important. Okay, SGX 750 was so threatening to violate. We already mentioned that it was threatening to violate this support of 17770. So this was at 177. Probably this was some 1770, 1770. That some figure might be, I think 1770, some figure was there. But we had mentioned about 1770 was getting violated. So then we have the comments based on that sequence. However, to try to protect the market. That level is said that it will try to protect the market. But if actually is already violated, a deeper correction is likely to see of the rise from 15715. We are already started in the process of correction. Okay, that correction process is started. So that is why I use this chart to see that it's a regression line channel that was already getting violated on this chart of SGX Nifty. Okay, so regression channel is looking to get violated. Then we saw that again the supply zones which we are with the help of this same Nifty chart for but on the SGX. So we are already into the overbought area and we already started delivering a negative divergence of this sequence. This is already
Right.
so this was already in place. So, and then we added an SGX, sorry, ADX. ADX has already started turning down. So whenever ADX turns basically, you can be assured that their top is in place.
Okay.
You start shedding. See, AGS again is like it tells you about the quality of the movement. It doesn't tell you the quantity. Okay, AGS is again the quality, not quantity. Or not, it's not a signal. It's based on what is showing on the chart for the current price behavior. So it is trying to confirm that your current price behavior is having strength or not. The moment it makes a turn, over here and over here, and market starts to fall down, but it continues to slide even as the market continues to up. So that means it's a weak rally on the upside. Even if it might be an
Right.
absolute gain, it might be an absolute gain. Somebody will say, "अरे तो इतना market बढ़ गया, फिर तुम बोल रहे हो कि ये market weak है, market तो ऊपर है, तुम बोल रहे हो." So people who don't have the grasp about the subject will talk like this. Or purely
Right.
or somebody who is only dedicated for trading M2M, who is only wants to know about MT, he will not understand.
Right.
For him, M2M is important. not other things. लेने के बाद profit होना चाहिए. Those are not the people who I am looking at actually.
Yeah.
Because we are going to be right or wrong. Not every day we are going to be right.
In fact, those diversions are good for future
It is good
trade.
for actually the investor. It is good for actually the fund managers.
Yeah, exactly.
Fund manager is good because what happens that as a fund manager, if I'm having a negative divergence on a bigger scale, when I'm wearing large bulk volumes, I'm like a portfolio manager or probably like a mutual fund manager. So what happens
Right.
is that he can't dump his stocks with such large quantity in a single day. So he loves negative divergence because
Correct.
on a staggered way he can distribute. Whereas
Exactly.
opposite is true for the traders. Traders is more wants to be with the price. He wants to be the mirror of the price.
Yeah.
Then only will earn. If he is not a
Correct.
mirror of the price, we cannot earn. Okay, so
Yeah.
he is exposed to a lot of risk and a lot of volatility. So that as a trader, one has to understand. The it's not about M2M all the time. No, it cannot be that.
Correct.
So now what happens? I'm giving you, but this was something because I was and such a big thing. I don't write every day. So that was a time and I was expecting that this is going to crack actually. And that is why this horizontal line was mentioned. That is why this trend. This is not a regular chart posting I am doing all the time. There's no point looking at posting these charts again and again every day. It makes no sense. Okay. So when it was required to be posted, I am posting. When it is required, now very critical time, I'm writing a lot of things. Negative divergence. This I don't write every day. Not required to be written. Okay. So though I was highlighting this supply area for a long time, even when it has not arrived, when we were traveling about on this area, we said this is the supply area when we have to be very careful. We have to do a lot of dumping. You literally have to do it. So if a fund manager is doing, then he knows this supply zone. So he will be dumping irrespective of news and sentiments. Irrespective of news and sentiments, like sentiments might be good. So what happens is that based on this area, like these comments, I try to make up for the some confusion created in the market behavior. So I want to clarify a lot of things over here. Rising wedge I could see on the spot nifty over here. Spot nifty was showing. So I mentioned about that. I mentioned about also that was a very critical time. Whenever I feel such things to be written, I need to write it. Otherwise, there is my life of doing analysis is useless if I don't put it. When the analysis is to be mentioned, it is to be mentioned. So that is the purpose of that. And accordingly, somebody who is tracking me knows when I am writing such all things, then I am very sure that market is going to crack. So he knows my psychology, what I am writing. As
Correct.
time goes by, he knows what I am doing.
Correct.
It is not about like some people who are doing. They will say that public को confidence आता है कि तुम उसको trade करा के दो तो ही confidence. I'm not doing something like that. But what I'm doing is somebody who is tracking me will know my sense of writing all these things. Otherwise, in every day where I am, I'm not going to. I don't have time also in every day to write such stories. It's a weekend story strategy. We can't write on a day-to-day basis. Day-to-day basis, it will be really very stick to the observation and what's the perspective that is already I have built in my mind. What I am
Correct.
doing. I'm a seller on the rise or whatever. I'm a buyer. If it's a gap down, then I want to buy, flip or a pullback, intraday pullback, and so on. So those things are going to be taken care by the comments like these. Weekly R1 I will be monitoring. Weekly center point I'm monitoring. Momentary bias which should test the daily supports and weekly supports. So I'm looking at. So whatever I'm saying, that then we started off late putting a black line to identify where my XGX is there on the chart. Because Nifty is only 4 hours or 5 hours of trading. That is 14 hours of trading.
Correct.
So that is more representative actually data. As we are starting watching it now on a very regular basis, earlier we were focused only on this. But as time went on, we started looking at that also because that is a 14 hour data which is trying to use US market or any other markets and any other events which are coming into the scenario. So it gets discounted over there. So we don't have to know about US market or any other markets which are impacting the market. But moment you see XJ cracking, that means some market, currency market, metal market, commodity market, gold, bullion market, or any other current markets which are impacting the markets in totality as an assets will come in XGX. So that is why you have a gap up, gap down because our market is 5 hours. That is why you will have a gap up, gap down. Okay, so if you are
Right.
aware about that, then you know SGX oversold was first in 4 hour chart, 4 or 5 hour. So based on
Yeah.
that, sometimes it will be a lengthy topic. But what we have to pick up from there is what is I am writing. In the sense that this was a purely a dynamic trading, very fast because that was the market was very active. So all these things are covered in the comments, and as you track it, something you will get the link about it. And my
Okay.
open close logic behavior is purely intraday is mentioned over here. So whatever I'm speaking is all in the report, and all
Okay.
the concepts are already there. Basically, is to explain why I'm doing this. The 17,
Hmm.
and then you have a rise, then go to this because ultimately is play within the pivot range, pivot levels of standard R1, R2, and R1, R3. It will play within that. So, but based on the behavior, what you are expecting is the gap down opening in oversold area on a 5 minute chart. It will automatically, whenever the market is on lower side, it will automatically be oversold in the 5 minutes. There is nothing
Yeah.
to think about it. It
Correct.
will be
Correct.
overbought if there is a gap. It will be overbought in. So there is nothing to watch even the chart because it's something like that. It has to be, no? It has to be that. So this is how the report is there now. Whatever questions you want to ask, you can ask.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, only from execution point of view, I had question. So that red candle right on 16th November, 16th September, where the trend got changed from uptrend to downtrend. That big red candle.
Uh, yeah.
So so say for example, if that trend gets changed, say on Tuesday of a week, so obviously we will be in a downtrend direction.
Yeah.
But next 2 days, suppose there would be some correction or some intraday movement which might happen on Wednesday and Thursday, which might go against that trend, which we know. Obviously, the closing will not be, it will not create a higher high, but it will probably do sideways action or some sideways correction in that range. And if I go for that Thursday, say either call writing, or if I buy a put option for Wednesday and Thursday, obviously my MTM will be on a lower side. I mean, it will be negative.
Hmm.
So, would you prefer to have the call writing done of the next series, so next Thursday, or probably the month series? Is that what?
Generally, if you are observing uh, in detail about all that idea and all, I generally don't look into much. Sometimes I look it. Basically, I just really look at the straddle index. If you're looking at any of the wherever the straddle is there, ready-madely it is given in some software, so I don't have to calculate all the time. Suppose you are looking at any of these sites, like therefore to understand the straddle positions. So basically, as you start observing, you'll understand that a weekly straddle is mostly in the range of about a week before it. Most of the time, it will be around 350. So it will be around 350 and 300. Okay.
Okay.
So when your volatility gets increased, like say generally now, see if you see this week's it was there, but if you see the ATM, basically obviously wherever ATM that will be I'm talking about. So wherever there is ATM, it will be on Thursday. It will be around 340 and 350, 340, 330, 340. For next week generally. There will be times
Hmm.
when it will be 400. And if you have see basically how it will work is that see, whenever what you're talking is about the hedging. Okay. So whenever you take a position in futures,
Yeah.
then you have to either hedge it with some strategy, uh, mostly writing strategy. Buying is only when there is a strong upside, and based on the intraday movement, if you are able to catch it, then it's okay. But otherwise, you randomly do a hedging on the long side and all. I generally
Right.
don't believe it works most of the time. Okay. So if you do a straddle, basically, so if you are bullish about a particular product, you do a straddle. So what happens, or a triangle, whatever. both generally these are something. So if future positions you are doing, and if you feel that the market is, you can do a straddle triangle on a weekly. So you are locked over here. Okay, so your
Yeah.
thing gets locked for 300 points volatility in future position. That way one can do. If you are doing on Thursday, Wednesday, it will be about 220, 200. If you are doing
Yeah.
depending on how it is scenario, ATM. So always hedge is basically the hedge starts with stocks or a portfolio.
Okay.
So you should have a portfolio which is about say approximately 10 lakhs because one contract would around do that. Then you probably there is way that either you do a futures. So you're trying to sell. So now you don't try to buy them. Okay. You always want to look out for a sell of futures. Okay. So look out on the sell of futures. Then if you further want to hedge, then you come to the option. So
Right.
either you if you have a portfolio, either you can do options first, and the option is not in your lines, you do futures. Or if you want to do option and then again there is a server like if you're doing a straddle, then you want to go long straddle. So either it can be a
Yeah.
portfolio, options and options. But options sometimes can be I don't know, you can do that if you want. So basically
Right.
something like this lines are you are do not doing any portfolio, but if you are having a futures, then you will do options too, or options. So these three combinations as a broad thinking it can do. So if you bought a future and now you feel like people who are doing bull call spread and all directly starting with so if the bull call spread is not working and it is like say you started at 17,000 and doing a bull call spread and the lower side is getting violated, then you sell a future straight away. Okay. Now if the sell is future is coming and again you feel the market has gone back up, then you do straddle. So what happens? See, ultimately the problem of writing will happen only when there is more than 1400 points or more than 700 points in a week, 700 to 1000 points in a week. So the
Right.
problematic days were these. These were the problematic days of the writing. Suppose when the breakout was happening, like this particular breakout, see when the actual trend ended over here, this was the time when it started breaking out. Okay, 16,200, but most of the people would do probably around 16,700. So if you are in a position to understand that, if you are a option writer, you are taken an option position or straddle triangle, adjustments are very difficult all the time to do that. So either
Right.
it had to go by the algo way or manually adjusting all the time. It's almost very difficult. Or you straight away go for a futures because your straddle triangle was there. You ran into the futures. That is one simple way. Or so other people will do straddle and then go for long straddle. Okay. So when the breakout was happening, so either your position is a futures, then you can do straight away naked, well, straight away buy a call. You know, when you're clear that it's a breakout and it's going to rally
Yeah.
over there and probably rally to all these peaks over here in due course of time, then you straight away go for a call. No? If you straight away go for a call, but those who want to be conservative, they will try to even bull call spread worked in this particular 3 4 days. But moment
Yeah.
it stops, moment it pauses, wherever buying is there is in trouble.
Right. Right. As long as there is
Moment it
momentum, you can keep that. Yeah.
only when there is strong gap up and higher low for these 3 days. These 3 days will be there when the writer will be in trouble. So writer will make up for either in the same that whatever he is losing in the same week or not in the same week or the next week because he will straight
Yeah.
away shift his position on the next week writing because your IVs will already be higher when it is doing this without even looking at IV chart. I will tell you it will be higher
Yeah.
comparatively. So moment IV is higher, you are selling and writing in the next series automatically. So even a 4 days of flattish movement you will get over here now. Your weekly straddles and triangle will give you money in these 4 days because four
Correct.
trading days are there for a weekly. So it will give you money. But again, this gap up again will give you trouble because this kind of gap doesn't allow you to earn money. So if you do a rate of change of 8 weeks actually, if you see the rate of change of 8 weeks, different then you'll understand that 1 week, 3 week, and 8 week rate of change of the price. Then you understand whenever like this, see this move was about bottom 1, 2, 3. This was the bottom 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the 3, 5, and this was 8. So with this was
Yeah.
completely a lead. So I can't have an extended thing like that for call writing and put writing. Then that is a very difficult part. Even very seasoned pros of writing also might have trouble in this
Right.
particular. It's very difficult to manage unless you have extraordinarily large capital. Then it's okay. Then you might still be able to withstand negative M2Ms and then still. Otherwise, what you keep shifting. The moment your break even gets crossed, you keep shifting. The moment the break even curve keep shifting. You know what happens so that you are cutting your losses very early. And if the next strike allows you to have a congestion, then you will make up for that. Like say for example, many times I'll take you one short straddle and a strangle combo which we work generally.
Okay.
Then yesterday the market moved up Friday, extended market, and it
Yeah.
was one combo was giving me negative about 4,000 and 5,000 rupees. Okay.
Okay.
Now what happens is that believe that 17,200 another combo should have been done at 17, but for
Hmm.
some reason I didn't do it or I got some involved somewhere, and it got
Okay.
left and market came down. So I was 4,000 minus particular
Okay.
position, and at the closing because market reacted from the gap. This was the gap where market reacted. So
Yeah.
you had to do that 17,200 straddle along with a triangle combo of selling both. I do both
Yeah.
basically, writing both out of the money of 300 to 400 points, strangle and straddle. ATM straddle. Some
Okay.
with professionals, some will not agree with me. Many of them are, but I like to do this. Risk is higher. Obviously, risk is going to be higher. So
Hmm.
over here, it had to do one more straddle and strangle, and at closing, I was entire loss was gone
Great.
and it was just a 400 points, 300 points. So now tomorrow the market is going to be gap down.
Yeah.
Slightly weaker market. Most likely I will be in 3,000 plus trade. I should take that in the morning without looking left and center.
Correct. Correct.
Because on an average, the wallet, if it's a range bound, one straddle triangle combo gives you plus minus positive and negative about around 5,000 maximum on plus minus both sides. But it will be most of the time 3,500, 4,000 extended to 5,000. If it is extending 5,000, that means either that its market is coming into a momentum.
Hmm. Hmm.
So that's the band where it works. It's minus 5,000, minus 4,000. If you don't take it, sometimes I have done only 1,000 rupee profit taken because if you believe that market is going to be falling next day tomorrow again, and I am getting credit of at least 1,500 rupee also, and tomorrow you believe that market is flipping, then better to cut that combo, take profit, and go back, come tomorrow and again do it. Because if you carry that, then there will be adjustment problems. There will be adjustment problem because the higher position will get trapped. Okay, so then again the number of contracts starts increasing. Multiplier effect is more. So when you are those you can do Wednesday and Thursday, you can do whatever to your positions, and that will also. The thing is that if the future trends get accelerated, the short side, like say in this situation, and you like over here, so these 4 days were okay. 3 4 days were okay because moment there is a doji, there is you are safe. Moment there is a doji or indecisive candle or small, writing is safe. Actually, it will prove to be safe. Not you cannot know in advance, but it will prove to be safe. But moment there is a
Okay.
big candles, there is trouble going to happen, and that is where you are going to adjustment process starts. You need to adjust because it will go out of the break even range whenever there is a large candle. This was a large candle, so anybody who is doing like example, like in the morning somebody did a writing, he will be in trouble because it's going out of the range. Either he has to do it again, one more in adjustment, or cut this and do net. But the problem of cutting is, what actually, if I had a straddle of 16,900, around 17,000, 17,000 straddle, market went to 2,000, 17,200, I cut the position and went to 17,200. So, but 17,200 will give you loss tomorrow if market is gap down.
Right.
So
Hmm.
switching and that algo people are always suggesting that way who are creating those all those things that you keep cutting and you keep shifting. That is one way some people are doing it because they want to control the risk. So when they will do only very 20% risk, 20% profit loss may they will cut positions and they will keep shifting to the next ATM. Okay, so but ATM is something where you have to be. Actually, you cannot go outside that area, because otherwise ATM. So coming over here back to the chart. So whatever like thing is there, like this day, it allowed me to give my R1 sell and market fell down. So whenever in a downtrend, gap up opening are always good for selling. It will not survive. It will not survive the gap.
Correct.
So you cannot go a
Right.
buyer in between. Stock wise, it might happen that some stocks start moving very strong, and that stock was 5% up in the morning after you buying also. Okay. So, but most of the time will trap you also when there is a gap up. If you want to buy, then intraday will be getting trapped actually, because there is a behavior of only in the exceptional cases out of the 10 days, you have a one day like Friday, out of 10 days.
Yeah.
Like over here also, such large candles are not a regular feature. No? So any gains or loss of single day in terms of Nifty or Nifty at least, 2.5% or 2% more on a next day on a large candle. In actually large candle, not that gap up closing and 2% up. That will not be, because it will be having a small body, then it doesn't make much sense. Okay. But then
Correct.
next day, whenever there is a negative body like these kind of bodies, whenever there is a inverted I am a shooting star, मतलब you go with confidence to कल तो बेचना ही है. Even if I don't know trend, I don't understand trend. I only can take my decision based on this candle itself, irrespective of what. इसके ऊपर तेजी, otherwise sell. So sell at center point, that is pivot, and R1 or high, whichever, or R1. Stop loss will be this previous day, and sell below this open. If trades below the open and trades below this low of 17,756 with high of the day stop. So you get this day the same process. Doji aaya, next day again. If revise a stop down, if you can cut above this, trade long, sell below this. So Doji gives you what? Doji gives you opportunity to the squeeze movement expansion. The squeeze movements are always good for either side entries. Either side, whatever you don't know, understand trend is okay. Standalone scalping, basically standalone scalping and trading doesn't make a
Right.
difference. Okay, so here also same thing. This doji is there, इसके नीचे बेचो, इसके ऊपर. See, irrespective of what market is, then some people, अरे इतना टूटेगा किसको पता था? I am not interested in knowing कितना टूटेगा कितने नहीं. My condition tells me that sell. If you don't sell, you are missing out. So what happens if you don't do it, you will miss these days. This day will happen
Right.
or not, I don't know. This day will happen or not, I don't know. But I am creating a position for myself that if such situation happens, I'm already into that position. So
Right.
by looking at the candles, you come to like this day. Even on writing on this day, I will say sell if trades below the open and below 16981 with high of the distance. So if my position is triggered over here, next day I'm going to relate my comment to what I mentioned yesterday. So my comments are in sequence, in direction of the trend. So they will never be out of the trend. I will try to see that I don't be out of the trend. Sometimes I might be some slippage of can happen. Now in this day, where Friday data is not added on this September contract, because September contract changed. So assume that I am selling next day October contract. I would put probably high as a stop loss. Okay.
Right.
I would be 17042 as a stop loss if I'm selling even at R1 on the R1. Okay. But intraday it will tell me what it is trading above the open and above previous day's closing, then buy with low of the day stop loss.
Right.
So what happens is that the confusion with many people would come to know is that you are telling to sell on the R1, but same time you are telling me to buy also. There are two personalities in this. One personality who wants to be buyer at all time, he never wants to be seller. That is another way. But when the rise is seen from point one to point X to point Y, and I'm telling you to sell at point Y, point X to Y condition is fulfilled. So point X tells what condition tells me it's going to be a long trade. So whenever there is going to be a pullback, then only Y will come. Otherwise, Y will come. So the buyer who
Correct.
is there, who will buy and trade and end his trade. But the seller mindset guy, he will wait for Y to come and sell. And then I will sell at Y. Irrespective what will happen, like a Friday thing, it takes off my stop loss.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is a different story. But these processes and principles of following has to be done regularly. Like अभी क्या होगा कि फ्राइडे को स्टॉप लॉस हुआ तो मंडे से फॉलो करना बंद कर दिया तो नहीं चलेगा. अरे फ्राइडे को मेरे को
Yeah.
लॉस हुआ तो नहीं अभी कल R1 में नहीं बेचेंगे. And you start thinking to buy at R1. You can buy at R1 when you can buy at R1 is that if it's trading above the open and above R1, then buy with low of the day stop loss to exit at R2. See, the process are completely laid down. What principles, your thought process has to become more mechanical. Keeping in view a trend, keeping in all the things into mind, it is about taking decisions at particular point of time. It's like a person who is hitting a six at a last ball or whatever. Like you're programmed to do that. Your mind is programmed to hit the ball for a six at a certain spotting of a ball, like say certain position of the ball where those balls are meant to be hit for a six. So you have already done that practice in the practice sessions. So whenever in live market it is coming down, your instinctive reaction is to act like that. That is why net practices, and that is why in chart watching
Right.
we are continuously.
Yeah.
1 minute.
So yes.
So we are continuously 1 minute. Continuously watching charts and continuously rehearsing our mind. You have to rehearse your mind all the time. Like, oh, this position comes, I will sell. So you have to keep telling your mind every day. So when you are writing report or when you are doing report, you are going to do the same thing again and again. Then only you will get these moves. Otherwise, you will never get the move. So that is what the
But,
purpose.
today what I will do is I will just go through the report.
It takes some time. It is not going to be a one night or overnight thing that you will be able to. Since you have done some training, you will be able to do it because since you are already taken some technical analysis training,
Yeah.
it will help you to be in line with the market conditions.
Right.
So that is okay. So anything else you can just. Go through.
Sure. And what about this product charges? I mean, monthly it is.
There are two things. There are two things. Because there are a lot of people who are taking money from Money Times. Money Times in a channel part for 20 years. But many times what happens, people don't call, don't chat, and so there is going to be a lot of. With my association, there is always a lot of effort. Lot of effort in the sense that you are connected to me, and so there are. If somebody wishes to be part with me directly with me or wants to pay Money Time, it's fair and square. It's up to the person where he wants to put it. Well, it should not be that if you're putting it directly with me, you inform them, but then there will be clash of my this thing. So whatever I think Money Times are pricing it around what I don't remember the price is. It must be there on the website. I think 2,500 or something. Uh,
Yeah.
and Bank Nifty, both are separate charges. 50 Bank Nifty reports basically.
Okay.
So it will be separate. I think 4,000 rupees. I think. Yeah. I think 2,000 monthly, probably Nifty. I think so.
Yeah. So you are suggesting
So then once you come that, I will give you my this thing also. For Telegram, but that Telegram is not for trading, but in between any teasers I am sending. It will not be a regular thing, but in between I will give it just before winding out is last week. Something which we have this thing called Power of Pro product, which is basically for stock, but every day we are updating. It's a Google sheet which is shared and which is updated. Okay. So what happens? This whatever logic which I explained about the open close, this is on top is updated, and that update is not automatic update. It's a manual update by myself by copy and paste it, and this by signals and sensor. So that risk factor which I explained to you is something over here. So that happens. The posting happens on the this thing Telegram. That whenever I'm changing and I'm posting, let's say Monday morning was a sell, for example. Okay, Monday early morning at 9:25 or 30 was a sell because it was